We've been led to believe that having the flu is an extremely scary experience. We are right now inundated with fear of something our immune system is able to handle. And this video may be taken off of YouTube, but I will be on BitChute and Rumble if you find that you cannot locate this video anymore, because we are led to believe that we have to fear this virus that is raging through our country, supposedly. Hi, I'm Mary Bourne. I'm a traditional naturopath. I love sharing natural remedies with people. Natural remedies have been around for hundreds, even thousands of years. And I work with clients on an eclectic basis, which means I take into consideration a lot of things. And the reason I do this is that there are many things that cause the body to go out of balance, to create a situation where you are sick. And today's video is all about staying healthy, because I know that if you have common sense, you need to question what's being told right now. And the first thing I want to say is there is no cure for the cold, and we'll get into that in just a minute. I would love to have you have a little bit of curiosity and to go, step back and ask yourself, does this really make sense? Because it is very easy for the media to present something as fact when it is totally fiction. And we know that through films, through a variety of things, the way technology has improved, that we can believe something that is totally animated, totally not real, totally robotic. So today we're going to talk about what is real. What does our body have the ability to deal with? And colds and flu are those very things. Now, this is a chart that I will leave a link in the description below, because this information is available to you. And I looked it up this morning. It's up to date week by week. This particular chart was taken from 2010 and 2011. So it is talking about the 2009 H1N1. Then there's another color here that was unable to subtitle or subtype. Then there's H3, there's H1. These are all the different types of flu that is about. Now, if you think that you can get a jab or 10 jabs that are going to protect you from this, then you probably don't want to continue watching the rest of this video. If you're interested in seeing how your body actually handles these, please continue. So this chart shows us that every year, starting in early December, there is a spike, and it falls down toward the end of February, and by March, there's basically nothing to actually show on the chart. So to broadcast that something new is going to come up and it's going to create. Now this is cases. This has nothing to do with deaths, okay? This is simply cases. And positive tests reported has been hijacked because this information was based primarily on people being sick. This current virus that we're dealing with, there are a lot of people that are testing positive that aren't sick. Now, I don't know when in history that you've been told that you have to quarantine when you're not sick. It's unheard of. This whole thing is something you want to step back and go, question. So colds get their name from the idea that you get a chill and you end up with cold. That's how it got named. And that there is too much cold in the system. So we bundle up, we try to overcome this chill or this cold and try to get warm again. But we aren't exposed to more viruses in the winter than we are in the summer. What happens? Why is it that there are more people succumbing to these situations during these peak months? Seasonal variation in nutrition appears to be the cause. So let's talk about what is a virus anyway. It's simply not like a bacteria, let me tell you. So bacteria are living organisms. We are living organisms. Now we are made up of many, many cells, which combine to make tissue, which combine to make organs, which combine to make systems, and all these systems interrelate. It is ridiculous to have a respiratory specialist that doesn't involve the nervous system, because our brain and our lungs talk to each other. Our sinuses and our nervous system talk to each other. We all have certain things we need to stay healthy. And we're going to talk about those nutrients and things that help us maintain health. And they're very logical. They don't have anything to do with being jabbed or taking pills that are toxic in the long run. Nothing to do with that. So organisms can be killed. People can be killed. Bacteria can be killed. Viruses cannot be killed. They can decompose. And what are they? Well, they're pretty close to a parasite, because they need to hijack other people's tissue in order to reproduce. They need a certain element to be available for them to grow. They cannot repair themselves. So they cannot reproduce outside of a living cell. So their basic instinct is get inside the cell. So what happens when you have a viral infection? Well, in order for that virus to infect you, of course, it has to get into your body, and it has to attach to a mucous membrane. So like the nose, the mouth, all the eyes, the skin, all of these things have mucus that helps support that tissue. The mucus is part of what we call the lymphatic system. It is the water system, so to speak, of the body. Now, this water can be thin or it can be thick. And when it is thick, it's generally congested and full of toxins. And we as humans have been exposed to so many toxins by so many things that it's impossible to find a human that isn't toxic. So these viruses, this piece of material, penetrate the cell membrane and go into the cell. We'll see a graph of that in just a minute. And then they hijack cellular functions. So it's RNA or DNA is copied. And then it's ejected from the cells to infect other cells. So let's look at this drawing, if you will. So here's a virus. The virus attaches to the mucous membranes. It enters the cell. It gets in touch with DNA or RNA, and then it reproduces. And it's a reproducing factory at this point because it is extremely happy. It's got whatever material it needs to reproduce. Now, when it comes out of this reproduction, it is different. And when it is expelled from the body, it is different. So we are changing this virus intercellularly and ejecting it. So we are never going to get on top of viruses because they are constantly changing, and each individual can change it. Now, I'm sorry if that scares you, but here, stay tuned for the rest of the story because you will lose your fear. This is ridiculous to think that we can get a serum into our body that is going to stop all of this, especially when it includes part of what this virus needs to replicate. It needs RNA, and we are including in this serum mRNA. So it is a very happy virus, and it's going to reproduce like crazy. It is no wonder they need 50 some, 70 some years to quantify why they are forcing people to do this. It doesn't stand to reason. That's one of the reasons. So let's talk about preventing viral entry, because really, isn't that what it's all about? Do we really want to inject ourselves with tons of more poisons? For me, no, thank you. Stop right there. I will not agree to this. If I have to stop all travel, if I have to sequester in my own home and not go anywhere, because that's what they're ruling right now, is that you can't travel without this jab. You can't go to another country without it. The world has gone crazy for this, and there is a tipping point because I honestly feel there are too many intelligent people out there to fall for this ruse. It's ridiculous. What we need to do is keep our bodies healthy by keeping the digestive system working properly. And last month we talked about how to do that, and I will link that video in the description below, because really understanding how your digestive system works is primary to good health. You also need to keep your lungs healthy. Now, who was it that told us it was smart to smoke. Yeah, I mean, there were ads like, I remember those ads. What does your doctor smoke? Because it calmed the nervous system. They had us hooked on nicotine, full blown. Everybody was smoking. Even 10 and 12-year-old kids were smoking. We became addicts to nicotine. And we now know how horrible that is. But how many people had to die of lung cancer or weakened lungs that were susceptible to tuberculosis, pneumonia, all of these things? Because of bad information. We were sold a bill of health and it continued. We went on this low fat thing when our brains were starving for fat. What we needed was information on what's a good fat, what's a bad fat. But you know what? The profit seekers, that didn't line their pockets. So we were sold a bill of goods about low fat diets and how important that was. I would never buy store-bought meat. I'll leave a link for Butcher Box, which is one place where you can get grass-fed and farm-raised healthy meat. And there are other sources, wild-caught salmon. You can get really good, healthy animal, which your body needs. But you need a healthy digestive system in order to break that down into the amino acids that your body needs to build. You need to stay hydrated. Otherwise, you're going to have the thickened mucus, which attracts these viruses. And of course, maintain basic sanitation, but don't go overboard. We have been led to believe that we have to sterilize everything. That is insane. You know, I love to watch programs that all about gardening and homesteading. And I've learned so much about how bacteria is important and having the right bacteria. You cannot grow anything in sterile soil. You need worm casting, and which is poop. You need good fertilizer, natural fertilizer to grow food. And your body needs to grow in a biome and virome that is healthy. It all has to balance out. Yeast, bacteria, fungi, these all live within our body in a symbiotic fashion. And once we understand how that works, we can contribute it. Fermented foods, you cannot have fermented foods without bacteria or yeast or something to help it work. So when the body is too sterile, you end up with infection. You strip off the acid mantle that is supposed to protect you. Yes, occasionally gentle soap, water, that's what you need. But you do not want to strip your body with these chemical, alcohol-based, chlorine, terrible sanitizers. You can use essential oils. You can use a lot of different things that help to get rid of bad microbes. Yes, there are bad microbes and there are bad bugs. I mean, they all have a purpose, but Where they don't belong, they can be bad. There are many weeds that are my friends, but a lot of people don't like them where they grow. And so they have been misnomered as weeds. But dandelion is a wonderful food, and I've got a video on dandelion as well. If you sterilize your body too much, you increase allergies, asthma, and autoimmune, because autoimmune is simply a confused immune system. Immune defenses are, you have to educate them. And how you educate them is through exposure. So healthy cells have the ability to inhibit viral attachment, viral entry, and reproduction. If a virus does make it past these defenses, the body also has what's called an adaptive immune system that can recognize, control, and help it through the elimination system. So there again, we have the respiratory system, we have the immune system, we have the nervous system, and the eliminative system all working together to identify these microbes and say, warning, we need to get rid of this guy because he will take over. It develops antibodies, it tags it, and destroys the defective cells. We have a beautiful system that you're not hearing about. You're only hearing about fear and how you have to fear these microbes that are out there. And it all came from Louis Pasteur, because he developed through mold antibiotics. And the pharmaceutical industry jumped on it because, wow, they could see the profit in this. Whereas if they taught that your body could deal with these, there's no money in that for the pharmaceutical industry. So what do you want to do? Well, first of all, let's understand what the immune system does when it's activated. First of all, this thing about having a temperature at 100 degrees is ridiculous. Your body is humming along and doing its thing all the way up to 103. If you get to 103, you need to make sure you're doing something to help it get rid of stuff. First of all, what are your bowel habits? What's your body eliminating? Is it doing it effectively? Are you drinking enough water? These are the things that ought to go to your head, not let me take a Tylenol or an aspirin or something else because my fever is too high. You ought to be asking yourself, why is that fever high? What's going on? Why isn't my body working effectively, or is it working too hard? Basically, when you get to 103, your body's working too hard. You need to get that temperature down, and the best way to do it is through elimination. And if you're coughing and sneezing and having diarrhea or skin eruptions and so, that's another way that your body is trying to get rid of toxins, trying to tell you, hey, you're not treating me right. I need to be treated better. I need more rest. I need more water. I need good food. That's your body talking to you. So as much as possible, these symptoms should be encouraged, not repressed or discouraged. The cold is the cure. So in other words, when we're mounting a defense like this, thank goodness, because number one, your body's saying, hey, you need more rest. So what should you do? Drink liquid, lots of water, get those bowels moving, maybe take something to help them move, eat more fiber, chop up an apple, apple a day is excellent. You've heard of quercetin. The skin on the apple is full of quercetin, and yet a lot of people peel it and throw it away. It needs to be eaten, and you need to buy organic because you don't want to eat any sprays that have been put on that particular apple. So let's look at nutrition and immunity. Good nutrition helps inhibit the infective process. So when the body has a strong immune system, it is resistant to all viral and non-viral infections. Yes, when the body has a strong immune system, it is resistant to all viral and non-viral infections. So that means bacterial or whatever. This is not only applies to colds and flu, coronavirus, influenza, but also SARS, HIV, Epstein-Barr, West Nile, hepatitis, and even COVID-19, which is a combination of things. And I hope that you understand that there are going to be constantly new viruses that come up because of people manufacturing them. And now we're manufacturing false ones because this is not a natural virus, but a man-made virus, one that was made in a petri dish. Unconscionable why these places have been given billions of our tax dollars to promote something that would cause unanimous sickness across countries, a global issue. It's ridiculous. So we need to be questioning the viral model of disease. This is just a drawing. It isn't a real picture. This thing that they came up with, this corona viral replication, is the idea of some artist. And what this artist is trying to say is that the virus lays on the mucous membranes and looks for congestion to attach to. Don't give it that idea that it can do that. In this country, and I'm sure in most countries, we are vitamin D deficient. We have such a deficiency of vitamin D. And where did that come from? Years ago, we didn't have this deficiency, but then sunscreen and skin cancer came along. And we slathered our bodies with this poison to stop the sun's rays. Well, the way the body manufactures vitamin D is from the sun. That's the original way that our body got vitamin D. So vitamin D comes through sunlight as D1. The skin changes it through the fat cells in the skin, and then it goes to the liver as D2. In the liver, cholesterol changes it again to D3. So you can actually support your body better by doing D3, getting it into the body. The liver recognizes it as a complete and sends it off to the kidneys. Now the kidneys take it and distribute it. And at that point it's D4, but you do not want to consume D4. You have to do it at the D3 level because the liver is sort of like the sorting plant. It sends things off to where it's needed. And if we had such a thing as D4, the body wouldn't recognize it and it would just get excreted. So D3 is the D that you want, and natural sunlight is, of course, the best way of doing it. If you can't do that, there are sun lamps that you can expose your skin to create this. But you really need a healthy liver in order to create this conversion. And unfortunately, many people have a compromised liver because of alcohol, because of the toxins that we've been dealing with, because of a lot of different things. So levels tend to be highest in the summer months. So we're out there, you know, you don't want to be out there without plenty of clothing, at least in Michigan, in the winter months. So best thing to do is to supplement. And I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get 25% off of the D3 that I take and my husband takes on a daily basis, even though my husband also uses a lamp, because we know that our livers are dealing with a lot of toxic influences. Now, the levels of D3 are lowest between December to March. And I would venture to guess that it starts dropping off in September and in October, because many people, you know, the way the sun hits us, we don't get the rays necessary for D3 conversion. So I would venture to say that it starts dropping off in September. So let's look at these charts. These are the peak months of flu activity between 1982, 1983 through 2017 and 2018 with average vitamin D level per month. Okay. Huge difference between, see, it starts dropping off here in September. So in order to build your body, and you're not a sun lover, you should be taking D all the time. But if you are a sun lover and you don't go to Florida, then you need to start taking, about the middle of September, you need to start taking D3 so that your levels stay consistent and your body can fight off flu and cold and the 400 other things D helps to function with. It's incredible. Cancer, arthritis, all you need to look up and get educated on what D does. The other thing is you need to know what your levels are. Ask your doctor for a D3 base level test so that you can determine where you are. And optimum, we say, if you want to prevent osteoporosis or cancer or any of these viral infections and that, you need to be above 80 nanoliters per milligram. So that is a good place. Most people that I've been, that have come to me that have been sick, their levels are below 30. And this is, you can just determine right there that you're going to be sick because you have such low levels of vitamin D. So what are some of the concerns you'd be dealing with if you have vitamin D deficiency? Well, let's look at painful bones and joints. You know, people, hip replacements are huge in this country, absolutely huge. And maybe it's simply because you're vitamin D deficient. Osteoporosis, fatigue. I can't tell you how many people come see me because they're tired. Tooth decay, hair loss, depression, slow wound healing, weight gain, increased susceptibility to viral infection. Cancer, influenza, and tuberculosis are the end results for long-term vitamin D deficiency. Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis, and they're also including in that what's reactive arthritis. You need vitamin D, and it's an inexpensive vitamin. It is easy to take and easy to get those numbers up there if you have a good source. Now, native people ate blubber, they ate grass-fed, because all the animals were fed on grass, not grain. I just got an alert that my battery is low, so I'm going to stop this for a minute and be right back. Okay, we are back. Let's see where we are here. Sorry about that. To our screen. All right. So I'm sure you have not had blubber. And I know I haven't had blubber, and I have not eaten bear or reindeer liver, but I have had salmon, and I do eat grass-fed butter, and I do eat the yolk of the egg, which is really important, and I take vitamin D supplements. So I have been able to get my vitamin D levels up. So the basic dose is 50 to 100 micrograms in a tablet. And generally speaking, through the summer months, you can do really well on 2000 IU or 100 micrograms. In September, I start taking 2, and then around December, I will take 3 tablets just to make sure that I'm up to my levels. Right now, there have been numerous studies and there shows no toxicity level. So in other words, you can take as much as you want and not be harmed by it. But, you know, why waste money? There's other things that contribute to good health that you can spend your money on besides taking vitamin D. So, but it's an important vitamin and it's great for children as well as adults. So if you're low then it would benefit you to take even 10,000 IU until you can get those levels up to where you want and start becoming normal. Now, this vitamin D2, when people go in and they get 50,000 units, generally speaking, they're not getting D3. And the tests show, studies and scientists believe that it is better to do it in a gradual level, because that's basically how your body uses vitamin D, is gradually, not in a big dose like that. So super doses don't work. It's better to take a natural supplement and put them in your body, put it into your body gradually as it uses it. I believe what happens is it takes a little bit of that D and then just discards the rest. So you're just wasting your money if you're getting shots of these mega doses. So what are some of the other benefits of taking vitamin D? Well, it supports the heart, so it makes healthy heart, so you can maybe reduce heart attacks, and definitely depression, because SAD has been studied, and everyone who has that under the study also has low levels of vitamin D. So there's a huge relationship to depression in the winter time, or seasonal affective disorder, and vitamin D. So it improves the health of the bones and teeth. It helps manage blood sugar levels, regulate hormones, enhances the immune system. So in general, it is a really safe and effective thing to take. Now, you have to be an ostrich with your head in the sand if you've not heard about vitamin C and the importance of taking vitamin C. And so most people have higher levels of vitamin C in the summertime. We're eating lots of fresh vegetables that have vitamin C in them. And then as winter comes, we tend to not have those available. And so the levels fall off. I did a video just recently on pine needle tea, which has 3 times the level of vitamin C than an orange. So, and it's very accessible. You don't have to use fresh needles. You can use dried needles. So I also teach the difference between pine and spruce, and so that you can tell the trees and what different varieties there are. So it's a very entertaining video, and I'll link that in the description below as well. So seasonal food is not available fresh in the wintertime to most of us, and unless you grow in a greenhouse. But then in a greenhouse, the food is not getting the sun rays, and so it's not absorbing D, and it's not manufacturing C, and it degrades rapidly in heat and light and time spent in storage. So it is a fragile vitamin, and it is water soluble, so it's washed out of the body. Oh, vitamin C deficiency symptoms are damaged and dry skin, poor wound healing, easy bruising, joint pain, bleeding gums, fatigue and stress, chronic inflammation, weak adrenals. Now, the adrenals are responsible for your fight and flight and your ability to deal with stress. So it's really, really an important vitamin. And poor resistance to viral infections. So we know that vitamin D stops viral replication, and that along with zinc, and that C has interaction in that as well. So if you have any of these things, anxiety and depression, or kind of a weak immune system, you need to look into taking vitamin D and vitamin C and supplementing with them. So the way I supplement with vitamin C is I like a full spectrum vitamin C that has rose hips, it has bioflavonoids in it, and a variety of things. And it's called citrus bioflavonoids, and I love it. I take 2 every single night with dinner because I want to keep my immune system healthy. Now, native people used to use special foods like the pine needle tea, like I talked about. They would pluck rose hips in the snow. These were available in the wintertime. They knew how to eat. Besides killing bear and reindeer, they also knew how to capture the raw adrenals from these animals. And that is where animals store their vitamin C. Now, as mammals, we can't store vitamin C. It's washed out. So we have to supplement constantly. Now, compote is a beverage made from dried fruits, and you can look up different recipes on how to do that. I might add in here also that fermented foods, there are lots of sources of vitamin C that you can get during the winter. And it seems to me that oranges are more prevalent in the winter time than they are in the summertime. So we might be able to source them, make sure they're organic. So vitamin C requirement, we lack the enzyme needed to make our own vitamin C. So we as mammals cannot manufacture vitamin C. Now, our dear country believes that ascorbic acid is the same thing as vitamin C, and it is only one component of vitamin C. Actually, there are other components like rutin that are necessary. And so saying this is vitamin C is ridiculous because this is vitamin C. So the RDA is 90 milligrams, but based on body weight compared to other mammals, a more accurate thing would be 2000 milligrams. You know, RDA is like a ridiculous amount. So vitamin C doses, some people recommend doses as high as 5 to 10,000. Now, if you're just taking ascorbic acid, you might end up with mouth sores and different things because it's too acid for your body. So in taking more gentle sources, asorbic is different than ascorbic. Asorbic is an alkaline version of vitamin C that may be more amendable for you, but you really do need to be amping up your vitamin C on a daily basis to make sure that your body has everything it needs to protect itself against different concerns. So zinc and zinc ionospheres inhibit viral replication. They actually work in the mucous membranes of the sinus cavities and that. So zinc, we understand that if you have a low taste, in other words, your taste buds are not acute, then zinc could be a problem. Also smell, the sense of smell. If you're not aware of different aromas, that you could be zinc deficient as well. And you don't need a lot of it. Most scientists say that if you take 1 tablet every day during the winter time, that is sufficient. Zinc levels don't have the seasonal fluctuations, but many people are deficient, 40 to 50%. And so basically you could take it on a daily basis all year long, but zinc deficiencies are more common in the elderly, and zinc supports the immune processes that keep viral agents from getting into the cells. So it's one of those things that when zinc is present, the virus can't get into the cell. And when it gets into the cell, that's the only way it can reproduce. So it inhibits viral replication. So that's a wonderful thing. So some of the things with low zinc levels are gray or thinning hair. Boy, I'll tell you, I have never seen so many bald people in my life as we have in the last 10 or 15 years. Young people balding and thinking nothing of it, like it's no concern, okay. Digestive issues due to low hydrochloric acid. Now, we again reiterate the need for healthy digestion and the importance of understanding how that works. Low sex drive in men, they think it's all about testosterone, when in fact it could be zinc, anxiety and irritability, poor wound healing, increased susceptible to viral diseases. So these are signs of a zinc deficiency. Now, zinc ionosphere is zinc needs to be transported across cell membranes to get inside the cell where it can inhibit viral replication. And substances that help zinc cross the cell membrane are called ionospheres. And taking zinc with an ionosphere makes it more effective in blocking viral replication. So what is an ionosphere? Well, I'm sure you heard of hydroxychloroquine. Well, that's a drug type of ionosphere. But quercetin, which is a natural source of ionosphere, it's the flavonoid found in apples, particularly the skin, onions, red grapes, citrus fruits, and green leafy vegetables. Now, onion skin tea is such a thing. And if you do onion skin tea, especially the red skin, don't throw the skin away. Save it, make it into a tea, or you can brew it and make a tincture out of it, so that, you know, if you're not a big onion eater, then, but the skin color has a lot to do with how effective how effectively you can get the quercetin out of that skin. Now, you can supplement with 500 milligrams a day by doing it, eking it out 2 to 3 times a day. Doses of 3,000 to 7,000 milligrams a day were effective against Ebola and Zika. Now they're going to scare you again about a new Ebola virus coming out, and you, I hope, will, if you've gotten this far in the video, will understand the need for keeping your body healthy with things like quercetin. Now there's a lot of things. Green tea. You've heard of the EGCG, which is a catechin in green tea, and it's high in quercetin. So there are a lot of things that you could be doing. So you take a cup of green tea a day. If the onion skin doesn't appeal to you, then go ahead and brew some green tea. Eat an apple and primarily the skin on a daily basis. You can do some citrus fruits, eat the green leafy organic vegetables. There's a lot of things that you can do to ramp up your quercetin. Vitamin A. Now this vitamin A, we've been told that you shouldn't take vitamin A in the oil form because it's toxic. No, the liver is toxic, and A helps it detoxify, and that's where the reaction is coming from. You need vitamin A for healthy eyes primarily, but healthy skin. It is one of the things necessary for your first line of defense. And vitamin A in the oil form is called retinol. And in the vegetable form, it's called beta carotene. But beta carotene has to be converted into retinol, and it's one more step your body has to do to help you not be deficient. And it works with vitamin D3. So these things all interrelate, and it's, you know, it's really important to take a good food grade multivitamin and mineral, not a gummy, not Flintstones. Be adult about this and take something that is going to really benefit your body and not just taste good. So, I mean, you can do other things that taste good. You don't have to eat vitamins to have something taste good. So vitamin A deficiency symptoms are acne. So acne isn't necessarily a bacterial problem, but the fact that your skin doesn't have enough vitamin A to stop the bacteria from interfering with good skin health. Dry skin, cracking, dry eyes, night blindness, infertility, poor wound healing. Here we go again, poor wound healing. All of these particular vitamins can improve wound healing. I heal tremendously fast because I take a daily supplement of vitamins and minerals that is food grade. Throat and lung infections are really evident when you have this deficiency. So it's a really important thing. So really, like, how much do you need? Well, it actually depends on what kind of food do you eat and how much is your deficiency. So the oil-based retinol is the best for immunity, and I support. The Kresge Institute recommends 50,000 IU. The government, we used to be able to get 25,000 units of A, and the government came in and said, oh no, that's too much, it's harmful for the liver. So now the highest you can get in a supplement is 10,000. It's, you know, good old government, they've got to butt in. So it is best obtained from animal sources like grass-fed butter, egg yolks, primarily the kind of chickens that scratch and peck and are moved and eat bugs and those type of things, have the best yolk. So the oranger the yolk, the better. Liver, get back to eating healthy liver and seafood. Now you can use a supplement made from fish liver oil for both vitamins A and D. A good dose would be 3,000 IU. So like things like from mackerel and those fatty fishes are healthy, but you know, I prefer just to take a supplement. And if you are burping up fish oil, it is because your digestive system is poor. You need to address your digestive system. So let's talk about herbs. I'm an herbalist. I love herbs. I talk about them all the time, and they are just wonderful gifts of nature that support our health in numerous ways and taste wonderful. So studies have demonstrated that the compounds in black elderberry, Sambucus nigra, have the ability to inhibit influenza viruses from attaching and entering cells. This elderberry, elderberry extract, elderberry syrups is delicious and beneficial. However, it ramps up. One of the first things that your immune system does is create heat. So it upregulates the inflammatory levels of the body. So it mounts a fever, it gets to destroy these viruses with heat. So taking elderberry in later stages is only increasing inflammation. So although it's a wonderful herb to take prior to as a preventive, it is not the best thing to take while you're sick. You want to be taking things like echinacea and golden seal and those type of things that calm inflammation. You want to take immune modulators when you're experiencing, not immune stimulants. So we do not want to upregulate the heat. So astragalus is one, it's a food grade. Children can take it. You can mix it up in applesauce. It is a fabulous immune modulating support for the immune system and antiviral. So it's helpful in both preventing as well as treating. So astragalus is something you should have in your medicine chest, in your stomach, on your shelf all the time. So in other words, it should be your forever food that you want to have on hand all the time and be taking it all the time. So it fortifies lungs during winter. All you need to do is take 1 to 2 capsules twice daily. You can open the capsules up, throw it in a stew or soup or whatever. Big chunks of it like this, they'll take sticks of it in China and put it in a soup and then pull out the stick later on. And then that stick is something they chew on, you know. It is very fibrous. So in this form, it's not one that you really want to take a lot of because of the fiber. Too much fiber is not necessarily a good thing. You don't want to sit there and eat sawdust. So you want to have a little bit of fiber, a little bit goes a long way. Now, cordyceps is another wonderful immune modulator. It is really, now, astragalus is great for all levels. So babies on to elderly, but cordyceps is especially great for people over 50 or people who have weak lungs. It is fabulous for those that are have asthma or COPD, shortness of breath, cough, loss of appetite, and low energy. So it is more expensive than astragalus, but it is a really good thing. What I would recommend is that if you have these situations, that you ramp up on cordyceps, take it for a couple of months, maybe during the winter, and through the rest of the year, take astragalus. You know, that's a really good thing to help defray costs, and you can trade off. We know that the winter months are going to be the hardest on you. So if you start taking it like Thanksgiving through March, and then the rest of the year take astragalus. Medicinal mushrooms, oh my goodness, they are fabulous. I get them in powdered form, and I add these to cream dishes, soups, stews, all kinds of different things that can bring the nutritional level up. So if you have bone broth, you can add some of this powdered medicinal mushrooms to it and make a really healthy drink. And bone broth by itself is a wonderful drink, especially if you do it yourself. It's so many benefits from this. There are so many that I could talk about that this video would go on and on. But echinacea, lemon balm, St. John's wort, yarrow, garlic, androgophis, and sweet Annie is a wormwood. And there have been lots of studies that show that wormwood, and particularly sweet Annie, is extremely helpful in viral situations. So more tips for fighting viral infections. Remember that the fever inhibits viral infections. Remember, the cold represents that the body is too cold. So you need to heat it up. And the body is trying to do that through fever. And there is such a thing as high fever. So we need to make sure that we don't get the fever too high, but doing something like a sweat bath or a sauna, a hot tub, and then follow it with a cool down, which is really hard to do. But in many countries, they will sit in a hot tub and then roll in the snow, and then sit in the hot tub and roll in the snow. And those shocks help to get the immune system working and being efficient. So don't suppress immune, particularly the mucous membrane, because we need the mucus. We need to bring that up, cough it up, get it out, expel it. And, you know, having faith in your body's ability to actually get rid of these things, you need to have a blind eye and a deaf ear to what you're being told as far as needing to be injected with some kind of foreign serum to make you healthy. You have within yourself the tools that were given to you by our Creator. And all we need to do is to nurture it, take care of it, make sure that we're staying healthy. And this also includes loving people, having good relationships, hugging people. And you can't do that when you do the social distancing and all the things that are just abhorrent for me to think about. And they should bother you too once you understand how your body actually works and what it needs to stay healthy. So I hope you like this video, that you give me some comments. I love hearing from you. Subscribe to my channel, and please share this information with other people, because we need to know. We need to add some common sense to what's going on and step back and say, that doesn't make any sense. Why should I do that? If you need support, you need help, please email me, Dr. Mary at bornforhealth.com. Check over my website, bornforhealth.com, and my YouTube channel. I appreciate you listening. I hope that you watch more of my videos and that you will stay healthy through all of the seasons of the year. And this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It. Until next time.